What's up and welcome to 17 Non. Today we're going to be making some pan-fried Baozi. Baozi is super common when it comes to Chinese street food. In this recipe, we're going to make a filling that's made up of minced chicken thigh. Baozi are usually steamed, but for this recipe, we're going to pan fry them and make the base nice and crispy golden brown. And with all that said, let's make some Baozi. Let's begin by making up the filling for the Baozi. For the base of the filling, we're going to be using chicken. You can use chicken breast mince here, but I decided to use chicken thighs as I prefer the texture. Remove the bones and the skin from 8 chicken thighs and mince with a knife. Place the minced chicken to one side and we can move on to preparing some aromatics. To take the filling to that next level, we're going to fry the aromatics before adding them to the filling. First, let's wash and slice 1 leek into a small dice. Next, we want to chop 4 garlic cloves and mince 5 grams of ginger. And finally, slice around 4 green onions as fine as possible. Now to take the aromatics to that next level. Place a wok or pan onto a high heat and add a good generous amount of cooking oil. Add the leeks first and fry for a few minutes until nice and fragrant. Next we can add the ginger, garlic and spring onions. Continue to stir fry and we're going to want to cook the vegetables until nice and golden brown. At this point the vegetables are ready and packed full of flavour. Remove from the heat and place into a small bowl and allow to completely cool. This might not look like much, but it's packed full of flavour. And this will take the filling to that next level. Now to bring this filling together. Add the minced chicken to a large mixing bowl along with 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 2 tablespoons of light soy, 2 tablespoons of dark soy, 1 teaspoon of white sugar, 3 tablespoons of oyster sauce, all of the aromatics that we fried earlier, a light seasoning of some sea salt and some black pepper, and finally 2 or 3 tablespoons of pre-made chicken stock. Now we can go ahead and mix the filling using a pair of chopsticks. Stir vigorously going in one singular direction. And we're looking for a filling that is neither too dry or too wet. And if the filling looks a little something like this, then we're good to go. Cover the filling nice and tightly, then store this in the refrigerator for now. Now it's time to make up some baos. Measure out 300 grams of warm water, then add 7 grams of instant dried yeast and 4 grams of white sugar for the yeast to snack on. Mix this well, then leave the mixture to sit for 10 minutes to allow the yeast to activate. Now in a large mixing bowl, add 600 grams of all-purpose flour and 20 grams of softened unsalted butter. And when the yeast mixture is nice and active, we can go ahead and add that also. Mix all of the ingredients together until the flour becomes drier and much more manageable. When the flour becomes a little bit more manageable and looks a little something like this, we can start to knead by hand. Knead the dough for around 5 to 10 minutes, and what we're looking for is one cohesive ball of dough to form. When the dough is cohesive and the bowl is nice and clean, we can go ahead and remove the dough. Place onto a worktop and begin to knead by hand. Knead for around 10 minutes, and what this will do is help activate the gluten. When ready, gather the dough into a ball. At this point the dough should be nice and firm but still have a little bounce to it. Lightly grease the bowl with some cooking oil, then we can add in the ball of dough. Cover the bowl well, then we're going to want to prove this for 90 minutes. And the best place I find to prove is in the oven with a bowl of hot water. This is a tight enclosed space and perfect for proving. After around 90 minutes, the dough should now have doubled in size. Punch the dough a few times to remove off any unwanted gas. Remove the dough from the bowl and place onto a worktop again. Start to knead, and we're looking for the dough to become nice and smooth. After around 10 to 15 minutes of kneading, the dough should now be ready. When smooth, gather the dough into a ball. Next, begin to roll into a long log of dough. When the dough gets too long, divide into two and continue to roll. Oh, and my bad, I forgot to film the dividing into two part. When both pieces of dough are equal in size and are roughly this thick, we're now ready to cut. For the size of the baos I wanted, I ended up cutting this up into 16 equal sized pieces. However, you can do 24 if you want smaller baos. When cut, dust lightly with some flour and this will prevent them from sticking. Set these to one side for now and cover to prevent them from drying out. And now it's time to make some baos. First, take out a piece of dough and flatten with your palm. Briefly roll the dough a few times to form a flat disc. When ready, begin to roll out the dough from the center to the edge. And the point of rolling this way will enable us to have a slightly thicker center. As you can see, after each roll I am rotating the dough with my offhand. This may take a little bit of practice, but I promise you'll get it. Now take out the filling and add 1 tablespoon to the center of the dough. To enclose the filling, we want to begin to pleat the edges together using our index finger and thumb. If I'm honest, I'm not very good at pleating dumplings. However, this is not really important and you can enclose the dumplings however you like. When sealed, gather the dumplings together to make them as tall as possible. When ready, place onto a tray and let them brew for a final 30 minutes. Now it's finally time to cook. Add some oil to a pan and bring the heat up to medium. When hot, we can add the baos flat side down. Then we're going to want to fry the baos for around 5 or 10 minutes. When the base of the baos are nice and golden brown, we now want to incorporate some steam. Go in and add enough water to cover just the base of the pan. And taking a guess, I'd say this is around 100 ml of water. Next, place a lid over the top and steam these baos for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the baos should now be ready. Allow them to sit for 5 to 10 minutes and all that's left to do is to serve. The baos are still ridiculously hot at this stage, but that's the best way to serve them when they're just cooked. I like to finish the baos with some toasted sesame and some sliced green onion. And finally, a drizzle of chili oil for a little bit of heat. You don't have to do this, but I seem to put chili oil on pretty much everything. The baos are nice and soft and I know the filling's going to taste pretty damn good. I think if you allow the baos to prove long enough and able to get a decent all-purpose flour, then you're going to have no problem with this recipe. And when it comes to pleating the baos, that part isn't too serious. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe and let me know in the comments if you get to try out these baos. Have fun and watch out for some more recipes. Thanks for watching and I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. If you want to see more recipes like this in the future, then simply click on the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. With all that said, see you guys on the next one. Take care and as always, peace.